Breaking news at noon, witnesses telling us that a Dodge Charger plummeted off of I-45 elevated frontage road just north of downtown Houston. It is the Cottage Street overpass near North Main. That Charger then landed on two SUVs on the main lanes below. This happened around 9 a.m., backing up traffic for nearly an hour. Emergency crews took that Dodge driver to the hospital, then cleared the debris. No word yet on how badly he or others were hurt or what triggered all of this. And now a live look from Air 11 at weather damage at Hobby Airport. Investigators from the National Weather Service checked this out, and no, a tornado did not cause this damage. It was a wind burst that tore apart this hangar last night. We are talking 80-mile-an-hour winds. It happened just after midnight at JetLinks, which is a private terminal. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Our Michelle Choi is live there now. And Michelle, this looks like a mess. How bad was the damage?
Sherman, we're talking about millions of dollars in damages. The National Weather Service says this microburst was similar to an EF0 tornado, very concentrated and causing a lot of damage, enough damage to bring down a hangar that withstood during Harvey. Now, what's amazing about all of this, we're told crew members that were inside, well, their shift ended literally just 20 minutes before this microburst hit with those 80-mile-per-hour winds. So you can only imagine, just think about that, what could have happened had those people been inside. Now, just how bad was this damage? Well, take a look at this footage shot overnight. This is what firefighters and police were reporting to when they first got here. Just look at that mess. You can see the hangar draped over several private jets. In daylight, the mess even more apparent. Check out the view from above shot by our Air 11. We're told at one point the upwards of 80-mile-per-hour winds lifted and blew the hangar 20 to 30 feet, even picking up one of these jets up and taking out power in some areas that have since been restored, fortunately. Now, for crews here, it's all about how quickly they can clean up and recover from all of this.
Our job is to help take care of the people who are flying through here and the people who make the flights possible. And so that's the role we're in right now, is in recovery and assistance.
They're assisting to quickly get everything back up and running. It's been more than 7 hours now since one runway and taxiway have been closed because of all the debris scattered around. A runway used by both commercial and private planes, but as we mentioned, no flights have been impacted at this time, and all operations have been moved to the west side of the Hobby Airport. Now, right now, you can still see crews are busy cleaning up. We're told that they're actually going to be putting up a fence shortly to prevent the debris from blowing onto one of the closed runways. After that, they'll inspect the runway to see if it's safe to use, and they'll finally open it back up. Again, no flights impacted right now, but if you really want to make sure, just go to flytohouston.com. Sherman, back to you.
All right, Michelle, still a lot of work left out there to do. Thank you. And that was not the only storm damage this morning. While flying over Hobby Airport, our Air 11 found downed trees and power lines near Schneider Middle School and at a nearby apartment complex. Our Cheetah Craft joining us now. So, of course, the big question is, what's the difference between a tornado and these downbursts or
yeah, and a microburst. Yeah, so you can think of a microburst just like a strong gust of wind. It shoots out, hits the ground, and then it spreads out. So, and that's associated with straight line winds. You often hear about straight line wind damage, which that was. With a tornado, you have to have some kind of rotation, so the winds are swirling. So it actually takes someone from the National Weather Service to go out and see, okay, was this caused by straight line winds? Was there some type of turning in the atmosphere? So it takes somebody to actually survey the site, and then they did to officially get those 80-mile-per-hour wind readings. The airport site actually clocked in near 60-mile-per-hour winds last night. So it all happened around 11:53. In fact, I screenshotted on our radar from last night. So at home, you can see what we're talking about. You know, if you were sleeping, aka me, through this, you may have missed it. So at 11:53, that's what it looks like on the radar. It's hard to see. You don't even see Hobby Airport because of all the lightning. There was so much positive lightning last night. Incredible. Now, what a difference today makes. We've got clear skies, a dry radar, and that is the forecast this afternoon. Winds are still breezy, so I'm going to continue to monitor the winds. We'll talk more about the forecast this afternoon and over the next 7 days in just a little bit, Sherman.
All right, thank you very much. Meanwhile, arson investigators are trying to figure out if lightning strikes caused this house fire in northwest Houston. A mother and her 3 young children narrowly escaping all of this. Flames and smoke were coming from the home's roof when firefighters arrived. Oh, and what a day on Wall Street. The Dow Jones has recovered basically its 510-point drop loss from the opening bell, while the S&P and the NASDAQ have basically erased their morning losses and at last were in positive territory. All this coming over the fears of a U.S.-China trade war. This morning, President Trump tweeted this, saying, "We are not in a trade war with China. That war was lost many years ago by the foolish or incompetent people who represented the U.S. Now we have a trade deficit of $500 billion a year." He later tweeted, "When you are $500 billion down, you can't lose." This because overnight China announced new tariffs on $50 billion of U.S. goods. That includes soybeans, airplanes, and cars. President Trump expected to announce even more tariffs against Chinese goods later this week. Events are planned across the country to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was assassinated 50 years ago today. Here in Houston, a special ceremony will be held at the A.D. Bruce Religion Center at U of H. That begins at 5:45 with a moment of silence planned at 6:05. That is the time the civil rights pioneer was shot and killed at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. Today, thousands will be there to pay their respects. The civil rights leader was only 39 years old, but left a lasting impact on the world. Reporter James Brown has more on his life and legacy.
We've come much too far from where we started.
Flanked by his younger sister Bernice, Martin Luther King III delivered a booming reminder about the progress of social justice, invoking the spirit of his father.
I know our God didn't bring us this far to leave us.
So just as I say, we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around.
It was this speech over 50 years ago that was King's last, held inside that same Memphis church his children stood Tuesday evening.
Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
King's use of nonviolent protest is a strategy his son believes is still a vehicle for change, half a century later.
I believe the coalition of Black Lives Matter, of the Me Too movement, of these young people who are mobilizing all across the country, they're going to get registered, and we're going to see folks coming to the polls like never before.
If there is an overarching theme underscoring all of this, what would that be, Ms.
Our theme is, where do we go from here?
President of the National Civil Rights Museum, Terry Lee Freeman, says, despite the progress we've seen over the last 50 years following King's death, there is still work to be done.
The issues persist that Dr. King came to Memphis to focus on, and in fact, in some ways, they've gotten worse.